shaped even by the bodies that we live in and how we showed up and society received us. We were shaped even by what we had to make it through to survive. It's almost like a tree that's growing next to a wall. And the tree grows crooked, and the tree grows crooked not because the tree is defective, but the tree had to learn how to bend around the wall simply to find the light. And I just want to say this because some of us had to show up guarded simply wasn't because we were faithless, but we showed up because we had to learn how to bend, to navigate, to make our way through life. We had to learn now how to bend against the wall. And the problem is it wasn't because we're guarded, not because we're faithless, but some of us are guarded because we've been hurt. We're guarded because we've been hurt. But the problem then becomes is what helped you survive will start to sabotage you when you're now trying to thrive. Your story, it has shape to it. And the shape that your story has is called purpose. Everybody say purpose. Purpose, purpose. Joseph had to go through the pit. Joseph had to go through the palace. Joseph had to go through the prison, all because of the kind of leader that God was forming him to be. Joseph couldn't sit in a seat of comfort. He couldn't sit comfortably. Some of us are mad about the detour that we had to take, when the reality is the detour that God had you take is the very thing that gave you depth. We're upset about the detour, but the detour now is what gave you depth. The detour now is what made you you. The detour now is what qualified you. Am I talking to anybody today? Because here is the honest truth. I know that your story feels complicated, but the truth of the matter is it's not all that complicated. It's just that your calling is complex. I need you to understand that the calling on your life, it's not complicated, it's complex. That's why some things you had to go through, you just had to go through. God had to shape it because there was purpose in and for it for you. And I need you to know today that God isn't about to waste your trauma. Nothing that you've gone through is ever wasted. I said nothing that you've ever gone through is ever wasted. God doesn't waste your trauma. God is about to reshape it into your testimony. I need you to know today that God doesn't erase your pain, but what God is going to do in this season of unleashing, He's not about to erase your pain, but God is about to reframe it. He's about to reframe it. He's about to reframe it. And so this is what I need you to do in this season. I need you to hear me good. I need you to stop apologizing for what you've been through. I need you to stop apologizing for what you've been through. Let me say it again loud and clear, even for the folk all the way in the back. I need you to stop apologizing for what you've been through. You've got to understand now that it was that very pain that gave you your voice. It was that very pain that gave you your substance. It was that very pain that gave you your testimony. It was that very struggle that gave you your strength. And so I need you to know that you didn't just go through it just to go through it, Brother Tim, but you went through it so that God could speak through it. You didn't go through it just to go through it. You went through it so that God could speak through it. Somebody say, speak, Lord. Speak, Lord. Speak, Lord. And I need you to know that if you are here today, if you are hearing me, then the reality is that what you've went through didn't break you, but clearly what you went through built you. It built you. Romans 1:21 says now that our thinking becomes futile, not because we're stupid, not because we can't comprehend, but because oftentimes our eyes are distorted on how we interpret our reality. We get a little bit distorted on how we interpret our reality. So the challenge for you this week is to pay attention to the voice in your head. Last week, we talked about cutting the rope. We've released the weight. Now we've got to release the mind. Somebody say, cut the script. Cut the script. Pay attention this week to the voice that is speaking to you in your head. I need you to ask yourself, is this really God that's talking to me? Or is this survival? Is this really the same mechanisms that I have used to survive in the past that's speaking to me in a brand new season that I'm now trying to thrive in? I can't bring a survival mindset over into a season that I'm thriving in. So this week, when that voice pops up, ask yourself, is this God or is this me? If it's me, cut the script. Cut the script. Because the old script don't fit the shape of your new season. Somebody said that don't fit no more. It don't fit no more. It don't fit no more. Now listen now. You gotta watch the shape, because the shape will become the furniture of your future. You gotta watch the shape, because the shape will become the furniture of your future. Let's say it again. Watch the shape, because the shape will become the furniture of your future. Freedom without renewal is unsustainable. Freedom without renewal is unsustainable. Hear me today. Your next season is not empty. Your next season is already furnished. Your next season is not empty. Your next season is already furnished. I need you this year to stop acting like you don't belong in rooms that God has already prepared for you to walk into. I need you to stop walking around all year long with imposter syndrome, like the thoughts in your head got you going crazy. No, that is the call. God really did promise that to you. God really did speak that over you. God really has declared that thing into you. And so what you've got to do this season is you've got to walk into rooms as if the room you are walking into has already been furnished. I need you to pull out a chair this year. I need you to take out your seat, and I need you to walk into your future like you know the future is ready for you. Romans chapter 12 verse 2 puts it like this. It says don't be delivered in your mind. It says be transformed. That means God is not changing where you live. God is simply changing how you see. He's not changing where you live. He didn't say, listen, don't be delivered by the renewing of your mind. Delivered but being, I'm going to take you from one place and I'm going to bring you to another. God is not about to move your location. God is simply about to change your sight. God's about to change how you see it. God's about to change where you sit. God's about to change how you perceive it. God is about to do that thing for you. I need you to know that, listen, you ever know anybody, listen, folk have done this. They have bought a brand new house, Sister Rhonda, bought a brand new house and moved into the brand new house with old furniture. Am I talking to anybody in the room today? That listen, you can't move into something new carrying old stuff. You got a brand new job but got the same old fear. You got a brand new relationship, but got the same old insecurity. You got a brand new church, but got the same old wounds. Got a brand new hair, but got the same attitude. Got a brand new body, but the same old leash. In this season, God is saying, listen, I don't want you to move from one place to another. I want you to move how you see it. Don't be delivered, be transformed. Y'all with me? Y'all with me? Matter of fact, can I bring it the Bible? Psalm 23rd Psalm puts it like this. Anybody gonna talk back to me today? Psalm 23, where you gotta be careful where you sit. You've gotta watch your furniture. That's why Psalm 23 says what? That you prepare a table before me. I'm talking about your furniture in this season. You prepare a table before me. And so what does that mean? That means, Sister Pamela, that before you ever walked into the room, before you ever arrived into the space, God, if you prepared a table before me, then that means that before I showed up, that before I got there, before I crossed the threshold, God, you've already set the room. The room has already been set. Before your enemies moved, before the season shifted, before the door opened, I need you to hear me today. Before any of that went down, the table was already ready. You prepare a table before me. Yeah, you prepare it before me. Jesus said now that I go and I prepare a place for you. If you're going and you're preparing the place for me, then where I am presently means that I haven't quite stepped over into my future. And so, God, if you are preparing it for me, that means that I have not walked over to experience it just yet. Although I'm not there yet, what that means, if it's prepared for me, then my future in front of me is not empty. Whenever I get there, there's already a seat with my name on it. Whenever I get there, there's already a placeholder that's waiting for me. We've got to leave now old mindsets that don't fit new seasons. We've got to leave now old habits that can't sit at new tables. We've got to leave now old narratives that don't belong in new rooms. Somebody say, my furniture has got to fit my future. I said my furniture has got to fit my future. The next place you move into, you leave that old furniture where it is. You get you some new furniture in the new place. Furniture got to fit my future. Because God doesn't just upgrade locations. God upgrades positions. Mephibosheth was broken, was forgotten about, and was hiding. But David came and sat Mephibosheth at the king's table. Don't miss this. I said Mephibosheth was broken, he was forgotten about, and he was in hiding. David brings him to the king's table. Mephibosheth was broken, Mephibosheth was hidden, and Mephibosheth was forgotten about. David brings him to the king's table. Nothing about Mephibosheth changed except for where he sat. Nothing changed except for where he sat. Where are you sitting this season? Where are you sitting? Because we can't take old thinking into a new season. we have the furniture of your future, which then brings us to the script of your salvation. The script of your salvation. When God saves you, God doesn't just repair you, but God recreates you. Ephesians says that we are God's workmanship. That word means that you are God's masterpiece. Come on, somebody. In other words, you are God's story. This is going to make sense for somebody. In other words, what that means now is that your salvation wasn't a reaction. Your salvation, oh, I feel like running. Your salvation was part of the script. Oh, y'all gonna get this in a minute? So if my salvation wasn't a surprise to God, then neither were my struggles a surprise to God. If my salvation, hold it, if my salvation was a part of the script, then my struggle must have been part of the script. Come on, y'all talk back to me. In other words, now, before you ever experienced the mess up, God already had it written in the script. Before you ever walk through the valley of the shadow of death, God already had a comeback. Before you ever fell short, God already had a remedy to pick you up. Before you ever sinned, God had an answer to shape you up. I need you to understand today that nothing you've ever been through, it was not by luck, it was not by happenstance, but it was God's love on purpose. Everything you went through was a part of God's plan. Everything you endured was a part of God's script. The heartbreak was a part of the story. The drugs was a part of the story. The instability was a part of the story. The money was a part of the story. The abuse was a part of the story. I need you to know God did it on purpose. On purpose. It was part of the script. It was part of the script. It was a surprise to you. Oh, but it was written in the script to God. God, I thank you for writing in the script. God said, listen, Jesus said, I didn't come to seek and save the lost. God says, listen, you didn't find me, but listen, I found you. You didn't pull yourself out. I came and got you. It was all a part of the script. I'm so glad that we serve a God that will not deviate from the script. I'm so glad that even in my own stuff, that God, you found me, that God, you chased me, that God, you pursued me, that God, you tracked me down. God, you found me where I was. You picked me up and turned me around. The script. The script. And here's the part that really ought to set you free, because your failure surprised you, but your failure did not surprise God. Your brokenness was a shock to you, but your brokenness was not a shock to God. Your brokenness, it delayed some things in your mind, but your brokenness did not cancel God's plan. I need you to know your mess was messy, but your mess was a part of the script. I thank God for writing in the plan that thing that can turn everything around. And I need you to know today that God is still writing your story. I said God is still writing your story. God's not finished. God is not through. You've got to cut the old script. Cut the old story. Script. God, I thank you for the script. I thank you for the script. Can I tell you what it reminds me of? It reminds me of a child that falls into the river. And as a child has fallen into the river, you got people all around the riverbank that can't swim. But everybody around the riverbank, they're worried and they're looking all of a sudden. And it looks like it's an emergency that this child has fallen into the river. But I need you to know when they call 911 and 911 shows up at the riverbank, everyone that was standing there didn't know what to do. But when 911 shows up, they showed up prepared. They showed up ready to rescue. They showed up with ropes. They showed up with training. They showed up with a plan. And I don't know who I'm talking to today, but there have been some moments when it looked like you fell in some stuff and it seemed like you was in it all of a sudden. But someone please call 911. Send somebody to come and rescue me so that they can show up with the rope. They can show up and pull me out. I need you to know, no river have you fallen in that God didn't have a plan to rescue you. God didn't have a plan to pull you out. God didn't have a rope. God didn't have a boat. But he's the God. He's written in the script of your salvation. The fall may be unexpected to the crowd, but listen, the rescue folks already had a plan. And I just need somebody to know, there may have been a crowd of folks that were a bit put off and shocked by what you went through, but God was already prepared. It was already written in the script. And so nothing happens by happenstance. Nothing happens by accident. Before we ever hit rock bottom, Jesus has already written in the script the rescue and the remedy for the comeback to bring us back. As we open up the doors of the church, when you think about the script, when you think about your story, be mindful this season of the script that you rehearse. There's this rehearsal to our reality. And here it is. What you repeat is what you become. What you repeat is what you become. And so what I had to discover, what I am discovering, what I'm unleashing even during this fast is that you live life based on the life you've been practicing in your mind. Did you hear what I said? You live your life based on the life that you practice in your mind. What is the reality that you are rehearsing? What is the story? What's the script? Romans says, be transformed by the renewing of what? By the renewing of what? By the renewing of what? Not by the renewing of your heart, not by the renewing of your money. You are renewed by the renewing of what? What are you thinking about? What is the enemy speaking to you over and over and over, and it has kept you stuck all year? I'm declaring that this is the year you will not rehearse a reality that does not fit you. I declare that this is the year that you will be unleashed from the rabbit race of asinine thinking, that this will be the year that you will be transformed. I will not rehearse what I've been through. I will not rehearse the old script. I will not rehearse the old story. I will not rehearse the old trauma, but I will be transformed by the renewing of my mind. I'm cutting the rope. I'm cutting the script. Everything that's not assigned to me, everything not attached to me, everything God doesn't want me to take with me, I lay aside every weight. I lay aside every rope, and I press toward the mark. What you think is what you become. You want to become someone different? Think new thoughts. Transformed. Transformed. Transformed by the renewing of the mind. Your thoughts this year is the training ground for your future. I will no longer settle for what God has promised me because I can't get delivered from my thoughts. I will no longer walk around feeling inadequate because of the script I needed to survive. Don't fit this season now that God's calling me to thrive. Last week we cut the rope. This week we cutting the script. The doors of the church are open. Let this be the day. Long gone are the days that you will keep your mind in this repetitive rat race. The script you've been telling yourself. I'm not enough. I'm just broken. I'm just messed up. I'm broke. This is just who I am. I'm just like this. What's the script? We can't cut the weight and not cut the script. What good is it, Brian, to cut the weight but still rehearse the story? I'm cutting the weight and I'm cutting the script. I'm cutting the weight and I'm cutting the script. I'm cutting the weight and I'm cutting the script. Listen, we offer Christ to you. Maybe you're seated in this place. The altar is now open. Maybe you're watching online right now, and this thing just hasn't become applicable for you. It's easy to say, listen, I'm going to get rid of the weight. But maybe for you, maybe where the struggle hasn't been the weight. Maybe for you, you ain't got no problem. You can cut folk like a piece of cancer. I cut it like a piece of cancer. Maybe the weight ain't your issue. Maybe for you, it's the script. You done got rid of everything toxic around you and wonder why you get home at night and still don't have peace. You no longer go any of the places you still used to go to and wonder why you still aren't at ease. It has nothing to do with the rope that you've cut. It has everything to do with the script you're still holding on to. My God, today, is there one that says, this is the day I'm cutting the script? Every lie, every distraction, every story, you need to cut it. Cut the script. Hallelujah. Maybe you're watching online. Maybe you ain't even watching right now. I want to take 20 seconds and talk to the future person that's going to catch this sermon on Wednesday. I want to declare to the person that won't watch this live stream until tomorrow. I want to declare to the person that won't catch church until Friday. Listen, you send a message to us if you have to, that this be the year that you be released from every story that you've rehearsed, every lie, everything that was been generational, everything you were born into, everything your mama said, everything your daddy said, everything Big Mama said, everything daddy didn't do. This is the day, this is the season that in order to be unleashed, God, we are cutting the script. Write the story that fits the narrative that says we are fearfully and wonderfully made. The head, and not the tail. Above and not beneath. Let us prepare our hearts now to worship that great God through giving. Hallelujah. Make room for you. I will prepare for two, so you don't feel all this year, all this month, we're living a life that exemplifies what it means to be unleashed. Will you join together with me in faith as you prepare your seed? God, we sow. We sow this seed in exchange for a new story. Multiple ways to give. You already know them. We believe that it's a blessing to be a blessing. So it is with abundant hope that God blessed me to give, so that the mission and vision of Fresh Fire Church may be fulfilled through me. declare we will leave January unleashed to the only wise God that is able to keep us from falling, to the only wise God that is able to present us without fault before the throne of God. God, we ask with a slight demand that God, this week you will go before us. We ask this week with demand that you will walk beside us. With demand, walk behind us. This week, oh God, to uplift us. And God, go above us to transform us. As we cut the weight, as we cut the rope, and God, as we cut the script. This year may not be a year that you set some stuff on fire. Maybe this is the year God's calling you to reignite the fire. So whether you setting the fire or whether you igniting it, take the fire with you. In Jesus' name, listen, go in peace, hug somebody on your way out. Have a great week.